Okay, so now let's do this word problem. And again, read it carefully. We're going to set up the relationships among the variables symbolically, and then we're going to solve for the constant and then use the constant to answer a question. Okay, so here's the setup. It says the number of hours H, okay, that it takes P persons to assemble M machines varies directly as the number of machines. So here's the thing. So the number of hours, let me underline this. So what they're saying is that the number of hours, okay, so that's where you gotta kind of read this carefully. It says the number of hours H that it takes P persons to assemble N machines varies directly as the number of machines. So what varies directly as the number of machines? The number of hours varies directly as the number of machines. So let's stop there and dissect that. So what does that mean? It means that H varies directly as what? M. Okay, so that means that K equals what? H over M. Which means, well, which means H equals Km. Okay, so that's that piece. Now, what does it also say? It says, and inversely as the number of persons. So the number of hours, varies inversely as the number of persons. So that means K equals what? It's going to be the product of the two. So it's going to be H times P. Or in other words, H equals K over P. Okay? So, and inversely as the number of persons. Okay? So that's it. So now if we combine these two, what do we get? We get H is equal to what? K M over P. So there's our formula. Now, it tells us, the next thing it tells us is 3 persons can assemble 10 machines in 5 hours. That's the information we're going to use to find K, because they don't give us K anywhere in here. So we need to find K. Well, guess what? That information right there is going to help us get K. So we know that what? H equals, so basically we're going to plug in for H, M, and P and solve for K. So that means, well, what? H is 5. And 5 equals K times M, which is 10 machines. And the number of people is 3. So now if we solve for K, right? So that means K is going to equal what? 5 times 3 divided by 10. Right? So just solve for K, right? So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 10. And so I get 5 times 3 over 10, which what? Gives me 1.5. So K is 1.5. Good. Now I can use this information to answer the question. Well, what's the question now? Well, it's asking, hey, how many people do we need to assemble 36 machines in 8 hours? Let's say you've got a shipment deadline and you've got to get 36 machines built in 8 hours. How many people do you need to stay and work on finishing this order, let's say? Okay, well, so now the formula is this, and I need to know how many people. So let's solve this formula for P. Well, if I solve the formula for P, I get P equals Km over H. Right? So all I did was rearrange the formula to isolate P so we can solve for P, right? So now I'm just plugging in everything I know. So we know that K is 1.5. M is 36 machines. We have to build 36 machines in 8 hours. Okay? And so what do we get? Well, you stick that in your calculator. And so, how many people do we need? Let's see here. Hold on. Okay, so when you do this, you get, what is it? What do I get? 6.75. Okay, so what this is saying is you need 6.75 people to work 8 hours in order to assemble the 36 machines. But here's the thing, you can't have a fraction of a person. So the answer is you're going to need 7 people. Okay? So that's the answer. So the answer is not 6.75 in this case, because again, in the context of the problem, like if we were just throwing numbers, like in the previous examples where we just had variables and numbers, then yeah, 6.75 would make sense and there'd be no issue. We'd just move on. But in this case, we're talking about people, right? You can't have 3/4 of a person. So in this case, the answer has to be 7, because if we say 6, then we're not going to meet the deadline, right? 6 people won't do it, but 7 people will be able to do that again. In fact, it'll be less than 8 hours, or we'll end up doing more than 36 machines. But again, because we're talking about people and you can't have a fraction of a person, round up. Okay? Okay? So in this case, we would definitely round up, because rounding down would would hurt us. Okay? So the answer is 7. Have a great day.